Blog Talk Radio.
And good evening, Don Keating here on the Sasquatch Triangle Internet Show, live from Eastern Ohio, and good to be back here again after a 2-week hiatus, 2 weeks off since our last show, and guess what? After tonight, it'll be 2 weeks until our next show. I bet you didn't figure that one out, did you? Anyway, our next show will be scheduled, if I'm looking at the calendar correctly right now, which I probably am not, but something like the 7th or 8th of October is what our next show will be. At any rate, we've got a few announcements, and we have a guest coming on the show tonight. We're waiting for him to chime in on the telephone. One of the announcements is that, if you didn't know, our next Tri-State Bigfoot Study Group meeting is scheduled for Saturday, October 3rd. Now, that's a week and a half from now, and that will be located at the Lodge at Salt Fork State Park in Guernsey County, Ohio, near Cambridge. And for those of you who haven't been there for a while, at least since August, I'm hoping to see you back once again. We might have a couple of surprises walk through the door, and hopefully one of them will be big and hairy, about 8 foot tall. I seriously doubt it, but hey, you never know. Our next announcement is this. On the 20th of October, for those of you in the listening area of WDJQ, Q92 Alliance, Ohio, on the 20th of October, at or just after 8 a.m., I will be a guest on the Q92 radio show, and that will be just after 8 a.m., and I think we'll be going live until 9 a.m., and they're going to try to take telephone calls and take questions and comments and all that off of the folks who are listening. So if you're in the listening range of WDJQ, Q92, 92.5 out of Alliance, Canton, Ohio, October 20th, that will be on a, I believe it's a Thursday, that will be live on Q92. And so hope you can make it and tune in for that show. It'll be interesting. It'll be nice to be on the other side of the microphone for a change, instead of doing the interviewing and things like that. And then let's see, on the weekend of October 9th, 10th and 11th, thereabouts, Erie, Pennsylvania, I will be a guest speaker at the Erie Horror Movie Fest up in Erie, PA. And for further details on that, I'll put the website in the chat room here in a little bit. That will be Erie, PA. One of the big names that will be there to be a guest for that entire weekend will be a gentleman by the name of Corey Feldman. He appeared in such movies as The Goonies and The Lost Boys. And Corey Feldman will be there. He's just one of the many celebrities that will be there, not including me, of course. And but myself, and also not John Horrigan, he's our guest tonight, but Eric Altman from the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society will be there, and we'll be giving our presentations and trying our best to try to educate the general public about the Bigfoot phenomenon. So my talk will be on Saturday and Sunday. I have a caller on the 339 area code. I think that's my guest. I'm not quite sure. Good evening. Is this John Horrigan?
Yes, it is, Don. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you, John?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just fine. I got my plate full, but I think your plate is fuller than mine. It's good to see you, or at least your phone number, and it's good to talk to you once again. For those of you who don't know, John and I go back a few number of years, at least. I believe John first contacted me back in 1994, 1995. Regarding my newsletter, the Monthly Bigfoot Report, and we first met in December of 1996, when he came to Ohio and spoke at the Tri-State Bigfoot Study Group for myself and the people who attended. And we made a couple of trips in the Pacific Northwest together with a couple of other fellows in 97 and in 1998. And then I was honored to be a guest speaker, one of 4, I believe it was, at John's Mass Monster Mash in October of 2007. And so I guess we will talk first off, John, about the Mass Monster Mash. Can you give us a little bit of background as to how the idea came about to have such an event?
Yeah, and just to back up, also, you and I collaborated on your Ohio's Abominable Snowman video. Back when the term video was applicable, we did, I think, 2 documentaries regarding your 3 inadvertent episodes where you captured some sort of entity when you weren't trying to, which is usually the case. But the Mass Monster Mash and the Mass UFO Show, and a third element that we've added this year called the Mass Mystery Tour, is all part of what we call the Mass Mystery Weekend. So what we've done, myself and my co-producer Tim Banal from banalofamerica.com, he's taken over the marketing end of it. I needed somebody, a pro, and he's my Jack Bauer, so he's going to get it done this year. And massmystery.com, that's www.massmystery, massmystery.com, massmystery.com, that gives you the whole shebang about the 3 events. The Mass UFO Show kicks off Mass Mystery Weekend on Friday, October 16th, our 4th annual Mass UFO Show. We're going to be having 3 speakers, and I'm going to be doing a couple of presentations myself. And we can talk about that later. But getting to the Mass Monster Mash, which is the next night, which is Saturday, October 17th, we start at 5 o'clock at Hibernian Hall in Watertown. Again, for more information, go to massmonstermash.com or massmystery.com. And we're going to be having 4 speakers. First off, leading off will be Christopher Balzano, an accomplished author and one of the foremost researchers about the Bridgewater Triangle. And the Bridgewater Triangle is an alleged anomalous area where psychic phenomena, UFO activity, poltergeist activity takes place. It's a 200 square mile area in southeastern Massachusetts. The apex of said triangle, which was coined by Loren Coleman in his landmark book, Mysterious America, the apex is in Abington, Massachusetts. It swings down to the southeast corner in Freetown, Massachusetts, and then over to the southwest corner in Rehoboth, Massachusetts, near the Rhode Island border. That's the Bridgewater Triangle, and contained within that place is an area, and we'll talk about this in a little while, known as the Hockomock Swamp, and we'll talk about the tour later and all of that. So he's going to be talking about outside the Bridgewater Triangle, and what he's talking about are things that are just not normal. They're very abnormal, paranormal occurrences that have happened in and around the Bridgewater Triangle. That's Christopher Balzano, author of Ghosts of the Bridgewater Triangle, author of the book Dark Woods, and also co-collaborator with me on our audio CD, which I think you have a copy of, called Mysterious Bridgewater Triangle. That's Chris Balzano to lead things off. After that, and we'll circle back to this, Matt Moniz is going to bring up his investigation of the Bridgewater Bigfoot cast, and we'll get back to that later on in the program. And then our next speaker will be Loren Coleman, veteran cryptozoologist. I call him the world's greatest living cryptozoologist. He's back for his 3rd time at the Mass Monster Mash. This year he's going to be doing the Abominable Snowman, Tom Slick in the Search for Yeti, from his book. And last year Loren spoke about Mothman, the year before about the Dover Demon. So we're looking forward to him returning. And then behind Loren is Jeff Belanger, who you saw speak. Jeff is the most prolific paranormal author in America today. He cranks out books. He's an entertainer. He produces GhostVillage.com, the hit website that's been around. It's a portal been around for over 10 years. He also hosts a hot new paranormal show called 30 Odd Minutes. Go to www.30odd minutes, minutes.com. You'll see his brand new show. In fact, they're filming an episode tonight. He's going to talk about haunted White House, ghosts of the White House, which will be good.
Yeah, I got to interject real quick there, John. I got to say that I'm honored to be on the same lineup card and the same venue as what Chris is going to be next April down in Cincinnati at the Queen City Paranormal Conference. They scheduled me to be a speaker down there at the same time that Chris is going to be there, so it's going to be great to see him again.
Oh, Balzano?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to see. Yeah,
excellent.
He's a top-notch guy, and I'm not saying that because I was already a guest on his show, 30 Odd Minutes, but he's a top-notch researcher and investigator.
Jeff Belanger, you're talking about. You're talking about Jeff Belanger.
Yeah, Belanger. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yep.
He's scheduled to be down there in April. I think it's April 9th. So he's going to be a hoot.
Well, the thing about him is he can have fun with paranormal phenomena, and he just brings it. He delivers. He's a great showman, and an awesome public speaker, great sense of humor. I get to relax when he's on. I know that the show's saved. Whenever he goes on after that, I say, okay, it doesn't matter what happens the rest of the night. Jeff stole the show, So he's always great to have on board. He's local, and he's just a good guy. Back to Balzano that you were talking about. Chris has a nice website I urge everyone to go to. www.masscrossroads. I know we have a lot of mass here today. masscrossroads.com. Masscrossroads.com. That's his website, and check out his book. So you have Belanger in Balzano in Coleman, and then we bring back from last year. He's a British expatriate now living in Texas, paranormalist, monster hunter, Nick Redfern. You can look him up at nickredfern.com, NICKREDFERN.com. And again, all of this is off the Mass Mystery site. You can get all the links that I tell you about tonight. And Nick spoke last year at the conference on the British man monkey, Bigfoot in Great Britain. And he also talked about Men in Black on the UFO side. So he can cross over to both conferences, and I always look for one guy every year that can both speak at the UFO show and at the Monster Mash, and Nick is the guy. So this year, Nick is going to be talking about chupacabras.
No.
About the goat sucker. He's investigated them in Puerto Rico and Latin America, so he's going to be talking about that. That's going to be dynamite. Awesome.
Absolutely.
So that's the four, okay? And then there's some fodder that we're going to throw in. Obviously, the UFO show guys, and I'll go over that later, give me an opportunity, are going to be there as guests. There'll be books. I'm going to do a few salutes. First is, every year I like to do a memorial. We're going to do one for John Keel, who we lost in 2009, the godfather of Mothman, great paranormal writer. We'll salute him as we did Scott Norman last year. I also like birthdays. Last year we had the 75th anniversary of the first modern-day Loch Ness sightings in 1933. Well, this is the 75th anniversary of the Loch Ness surgeon's photo. You hear me okay, Don?
Yeah.
Okay. The Loch Ness surgeon's photo taken by Kenneth Wilson and then later revealed as a hoax 60 years later by his nephew Christian Sperling, or so we think. We're going to do something like that. Jenny, my wife, made a great Loch Ness cake last year. It was blue frosting with a green Nessie on it, and she said she has to wear full catcher's gear, full catcher's regalia, or goalie equipment this year because they came at her so quickly and devoured it like fire ants. So that's the Loch Ness cake with the photo salute, and I'm sure Lauren will comment on that.
Yeah, sure.
And then a 100-year anniversary of the New Jersey Devil, Leeds Devil sightings in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. We'll salute that. It's 100 years from 1909. And finally, and I'll stop talking and we can chat up here, is the 40th anniversary of the Mans Hill Beach Monster. That's the Scituate Sea Monster. That's the carcass that many claim to be a basking shark, although author Edward Rowe Snow insists it wasn't. A sea monster or a globster, as they call them, as Chervinsky used to call them, washed up on the shores of a beach in Scituate. It's the 40th anniversary. I'm trying to get a guy who has an actual piece of the creature that I got to handle in a jar and photographs but he's going to put together a DVD, David Downs. So there's a lot going down, my friend, at the Monster Mash, 5 o'clock, Saturday, October 17th. It's a Mass Mystery Weekend. If you can get to Boston and you're really serious, we can get you a hotel for under $100 a night. I know where there's a hotel. So it's going to be a hot show, and I'll talk about the mystery tour and the UFO show in just a moment.
You know, we've got a couple of folks that are already on the line waiting to chat with you, so I think instead of making them wait, we're going to go ahead and go to the phone calls. I think our first caller is from the 651 area code, 615. Good evening. Welcome to the Sasquatch Triangle Show with my guest, John Horrigan.
Oh, well, thanks, Don. Actually, it's Elusive One here, and I just called to listen in if you don't mind.
Hey, Abe. Good. Good to hear from you.
You too.
All right.
Thanks for that comment.
Oh, no, not a problem. My pleasure.
Not a problem, man. I'll just call to listen in. Please put me on mute.
Okay. Thanks for calling in, Abe. I appreciate it. All right. We've got another caller. I think they're on the phone just listening in, too, but I'm not quite sure. Area code 304. Is this you, Nancy?
Yeah, it's me. I'm just calling to listen in.
You're just calling to listen in. Well, John's off the hook so far, but I think this next caller here is going to toss a question or a comment or whatever.
Can I take it? Can
Sure.
I take this call? Domino's Pizza, what's your order? We deliver in 15 minutes. What type of pizza, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
Hello?
What pizza would you like?
Y'all must have got that from Abe.
Yeah.
Well, this is Henry. This is Henry and Bill. Hello, Don. Hello, John.
Hey, hello, Henry. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, John. How are you?
Good, thank you.
It looks like you got a good lineup for the Mass Monster Mash coming up. And I wish I could attend, but I'll be there in spirit.
Yep.
Yeah, John, I'm going to try to be there this year. I talked to my cousin today about it, and she says she's going to talk to her husband about bringing me up there maybe for Saturday for the Mass Monster Mash. So she has to see how things go first. And I see that I wanted to ask you a question about that one footprint that was found in the Hockomock Swamp. And I see there was sort of like a little press conference or something about it. And have you heard anything else from that person that found that footprint?
Oh, yeah, and we're going to be talking about that in just a little while, Don and I are, in detail. Is there a chat room, Don, that I can post links for anybody listening tonight?
Yeah, there is. I'm not. If you have to be a registered user to get into the chat room to post stuff. I don't know if you're a registered user of Blog Talk Radio or not. Yeah. But if you're not, if you want to log on to Facebook and post the links in that email communication back and forth that we were having there, I'll post them in the chat room for you.
That sounds like a deal. It sounds like a plan.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So, John, how have you been lately? It's been a long time.
And who is this?
Billy.
Bill Green.
Bill Green. Wow. Bill Green. Wow.
Yeah.
Bill Green, I met you 15 years ago.
Yeah, and I saw your article in Cryptomundo about a month ago about that one footprint, and I was just like, I figured something's different about that, but I just like you say, you're going to talk more about it. I figured some other evidence must have been found at that location that, beside that footprint that would have warranted that person to say it could have been a possible primate.
Let me ask you this, Bill. John and I are going to touch on that footprint here in just a few minutes, but until we do. You were interviewed with John Horrigan several years ago. How long ago was it, John? You say 15 years ago?
Yeah. 1994, I think it was, Bill.
And it was a very interesting interview. I happened to catch a copy of the videotape, and John was telling me, Bill, that you did have, and you probably have several more suitcases upon suitcases of material just.
Oh boy, Don, yeah. I got like 3 of them, articles. That's when I used to do my newsletter, Don. I tell you, people used to send me so much stuff, and it's just like, that's why I had to stop doing the newsletter, because it's like, people just send me the same old stuff. I was like,
So, Bill.
Yeah.
Bill, John and I are going to we'll go into that in just a moment if you want to listen for that Bigfoot cast story. We'll go into that in detail. Okay?
Yeah.
It was nice talking to you. All right?
Yeah, you too.
Take care, Bill.
Yeah. So
all right.
Don, what's new happening in Ohio, and how are your webcams doing? Have you caught any wildlife or anything on there? And there's another thing I ask you, Don. When you do your weather program next time, I was telling you in Facebook about that. You should do something about wildlife and Bigfoot on there. I'm just giving you a suggestion. You know.
Well, I could touch briefly on wildlife. You know how the weather may affect the wildlife, but as far as the Bigfoot phenomenon is concerned, Bill, it's not going to be even mentioned because the video that I do for weather is specifically for weather. It's an entirely different entity altogether of the Bigfoot phenomenon, and so the cryptozoological aspect will not be mentioned at all in the weather segment. But I appreciate the idea.
Good night, Bill.
Yeah, good night, John. I'll be listening and stuff.
All right.
Thanks for calling, fellas.
Yep. Yeah. No problem, guys. Y'all take care.
Yeah, bye.
You too. Bye. Bill Green, yeah. Quite a few years, John.
Yeah.
He's been around longer than my oldest pair of underwear. But anyway, bad joke. But anyway.
And he had that Bigfoot sighting outside his apartment building in downtown New Britain, too.
That's right. I do remember reading about that and seeing it on his website. It was a very interesting report. Don't know quite what to make of it, but it was an interesting report altogether. I think one of the best things I liked about that report on his website was the animation of the alleged creature activity.
Yep.
So, but going back to the what Bill alluded to for a moment, and that is the Bridgewater Bigfoot cast incident. Give us a brief synopsis of what happened here, how things unfolded.
Yep. First of all, I sent you a couple of links to your Facebook account, and I'll read them aloud so people can go and read along with me if they're listening online.
Okay.
Go to www.massmysterytour.com/lorefeist.html, and now I'll spell it. www.massmysterytour.com, massmysterytour.com, I'm screwing this up, massmysterytour.com / and I'll spell it LOREFICE.html. Okay, that's Jason Lorfus. Okay, and I'm going to go to that link right now, and just for you-know-what and giggles, I'm going to just Google that, okay? Just, if you Google it, Bigfoot cast, then you can read along with me. Okay, yeah, why don't you just go to Google, put in Bridgewater Bigfoot cast, BRIDGE, Bridgewater, one word, space, Bigfoot, space cast. Go to Google, first link. There you go. All right. Enough said. So, I guess it starts off with myself and Chris Pittman organizing a tour of the Hockomock Swamp. I alluded to it earlier. The Hockomock Swamp is a 6,000-acre area within the Bridgewater Triangle. Swamp, briar, some people say quicksand, 12-foot reeds, poison ivy, poison oak. You got mosquitoes the size of sparrows there. Deer fly, triple E encephalitis, you can catch that, or you can catch, what's the other one? Not the swine flu. But triple E is in the mosquitoes there. Anyways, it's a really remote area. And we decided to take a tour of 35 to 40 people through the swamp, and the only area where you could take a 70-year-old person, and so, I'm not in the best shape either, so they could walk in and out, was a place, a clear cut where there was a berm, almost like a promontory, a road built for clear cut for power lines. And we walked people in there, and we told them about the different creatures that were seen in the Bridgewater Triangle, whether they be giant thunderbirds, birds overhead, black dogs. There was an incident in 1976 in Abington, Mass, where a black dog had ripped out the throat of a pony, had been scaring the town of Abington, which represents the apex of the Bridgewater Triangle. That took place in the spring of 1976. We told about thunderbirds. Thunderbird had landed in front of the automobile of a police officer, Sergeant Thomas Downey, who was returning to his home, and while cutting through Mansfield, Massachusetts in 1971, a huge bird landed in front of his vehicle, causing him to bring his vehicle to a stop. The bird flew away. He was ridiculed and called the Birdman. That's the Thunderbird, Birds Hill in Mansfield. We talked about that. We talked about different ghosts and legends of haunted cemeteries in Rehoboth, of Anawan Rock, where allegedly EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, is pulled, where phantom fires have been seen on top of the rock, phantom smoke. Anawan was the successor to King Philip, and he was captured there in 1676 to end the bloody conflict known as King Philip's War, which took place in New England from 1675 to 1676. Legend says the place is cursed, not only Anawan Rock, but the Hockomock Swamp, because battles took place there during the war, King Philip's War, and you're talking about vivisections, beheadings, lopping off genitalia, just horrific acts of violence committed not only by the Wampanoags and the Native Americans and their federation, but also the Anglo-Saxons and the colonists. And you're dealing with a 325-year-old curse there. And I know about curses in Boston, being a Red Sox fan. So that we talked about that. UFO sightings that have taken place in the Bridgewater Triangle, orbs. And then finally we spoke about Bridgewater, encounters of Bigfoot in Bridgewater, especially the Bridgewater Triangle. Now the one that you're familiar with is what I've coined, and it is the Bridgewater Bumper Shaker. I got that out of Mysterious America, Lauren Coleman. April of 1970 and even March of 1970, Bigfoot was being seen in and around the town of Bridgewater, where I went to college. And in April of 1970, a police officer, while responding to phone calls of activity, noises being heard, a pungent aroma, howling, said that while he was filling out a report, and the story varies from whoever tells it, but essentially the story says that this creature shook the bumper of his police cruiser while he was sitting in it. He turned the spotlight around and saw a bipedal or a running bear run around the side of the house, and that's in rural Massachusetts. So there is a litany of Bigfoot sightings, legitimate sightings that are unexplained, that have taken place there. Mm-hmm. And in July, early July of this year, a man by the name of Jason Lorifice, Lorefice, from Paranormal Investigations of New England, that's pinewengland.org, called me saying he wanted me to tell them places where he could go find Bigfoot. Now, Chris Pittman is the dean of the Bridgewater Triangle. He's the godfather of the Hockomock Swamp, what I call him. He has all the Bigfoot sightings there. He's talked to people. And we all knew, well, Chris and I did, that it was Elm Street, Scotland Street, off of Route 1004, that would seem to be where the activity had been emanating for the last 35 years. And it borders a swamp. There's high-tension wires. There's river. There's plenty of cornfields, tomato patches. There's plenty of food sources. There's swamp area, dense foliage. You can literally live unnoticed between a superhighway racing to your west and rural routes that are busy by the day racing to your south. So there was a litany of sightings. So Jason called me, and again, I want to say it was after the 4th of July, maybe around the 10th to the 12th. And you know me, Don, I'm only interested in historical Bigfoot sightings. I couldn't give a rat's you-know-what if you discovered a Bigfoot. Don't call me. Call the investigators. I'm not an investigator. I'm a historian, a folklorist. You're an investigator. You're a researcher. You've been neck deep in it. I'm the guy that tags along in the back of the caravan and hangs out with people and tells funny stories. That's what my job is. So I'm not really interested in current Bigfoot sightings. I mean, I'm interested, but I don't follow up. I'm not a researcher. So he calls me, and kind of ticked off. I had just gotten back from announcing the game, and I was tired. And I didn't want him to go down. He mentioned the 138 area where we went into the Hockomock Swamp. I said, oh, don't taint that. Chris and I had walked the tour. We had measured it out, timed it, got GPS measurements. We put some stuff, some talking point things to pull out of the grass to talk to the tour about. Don't go down there. So I wanted to throw him a stick and send him as far away as possible. And I suggested, why don't you go to the T area, which is south of Douglas State Forest, which basically the T area is the extreme northwest corner of Rhode Island, the extreme northeast corner of Connecticut, and the extreme south central point where the three states meet. I call the T area. Now, and I can read the story in just a little while, the Webster Bigfoot sighting. But I have heard, and I don't write them down, but I know somebody near Route 16 Douglas had seen a roadrunner or something run across the road. He claimed it looked like a gorilla. It was very early in the morning. He was delivering newspapers. Another woman said something was traversing her backyard. We know about, and we can go over these stories, the Thompson, Connecticut stories, the 2 stories there. So I wanted him to stay away from my stomping grounds where this tour was going in. I didn't need anybody to louse it all up. And then I suggested, then he said he's going on the tour. I said, oh, brother, are you going on the tour? So I said, here, yes, Don?
No, go ahead.
Still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So then I said, okay. Yeah, Don?
I'm just listening.
Okay, yeah, so he wanted to, and I said, well, he's a paying customer, and we were charging people on this tour. So I said, Elm Street, Scotland Street. And then it gets on to be 2 weeks later, and I want to say it's July 29th when I get a phone call from a friend, Matt Moniz, who says that Jason found something, quote unquote. Okay, so Jason found, oh, wonderful. And then I found out he pulled a footprint. And I'm P.T. Barnum. I'm thinking, balls, let's put that in the tour. Bring it, you know? Oh, yeah. I mean, I couldn't care if it's authentic or the backstory on it. Just bring it and tell your story, brother. So he brought it, and I didn't think much of it. I had an inkling as to what was happening, but from the showman standpoint, I just wanted him to bring it on the tour, and we were going to interject where I had Chris Pittman in a known Bigfoot spot where Bigfoot was sighted to hold up a Bigfoot cast, and then Jason would interject with his story, which he did. So we lost light in the tour. We got back to the restaurant, the Charlie Horse, and you'll see the video, again, at that Jason Lorfus page, which is themysterytour.com/Lorfus. You'll see the video, which I embedded. You'll see Chris Pittman doing his Bigfoot talk, and then you'll see the video at the restaurant posted on YouTube of him handing out the cast for the first time. And at the table is Matt Moniz, a veteran and versatile paranormal researcher of 30 years. This guy's a ghost researcher. He's a UFO researcher. He's a Bigfoot researcher. He's on 30-odd Minutes, as I mentioned, and he's also with Jeff Belanger, and he also is on Spooky South Coast, a hit radio show. So he's been around, and to quote Jeff Belanger, weird blank happens when Matt's around. So he's there, and he went on the tour as one of our co-leaders, along with Andrew Lake from Greenville Paranormal. Andrew's a video producer. If you look at any of the Monster Mash videos on YouTube or UFO Show videos, they go back to Andrew's site. He's a great narrator. In fact, he's going to be showing his movie Ghosts of Rehoboth as a precursor, as a walk-up at the Monster Mash this year, so you don't want to miss that. Doors will open at 4:30 if you want to see his movie. But anyways, Andrew's there. He handles the cast. It gets passed to Pittman, and Pittman's like, holding back a smile and saying, this is the most amazing evidence I've ever seen, and then Tim Banal is in the background just smiling, not saying a word and observing, and then that's the video. So we left there, and Chris said, you know, when he left, he said, I don't think this is authentic. I don't think that this is real footprint. And he says, you got to watch out for the blowback from this, because he could try to be pulling one over you and trying to pull a hoax on you. And I immediately thought back to the that dirty four-letter word that the Bigfoot organization, the militant Bigfoot organization, and they tried to do that to me in the late 90s. And you remember the Scott McNabb case of 1997 that bled into 1998, where he allegedly was chased by a Bigfoot out of a riverbed area in Tennessee, I believe it was, and then months later sent a cast to you, myself, I believe, Lauren Coleman, and it turned out just to be a remold of the Patterson-Gimlin cast that was pulled in 1967. So I'm thinking this smacks of a hoax, okay? And Pittman, even though he said to the contrary on the video, saying, this is great, he says, listen, and Banal thought it was, Banal thought it was a hoax 5 seconds into the video, and you could see his response. But Matt, and being a scientist, and he's right, and Jason came out on Cryptomundo, Lauren Coleman's website, like 10 days later. I want to say now it's like, it's August 12th or so, right? Or close to that.
Yep.
And he comes out on Cryptomundo. It's national news now. It's international news in the cryptozoology scene. And I was kind of pissed because I thought it would just lay low and I thought personally that he was trying to impress the boys. We were all the big hitters in crypto and paranormal in terms of cryptozoology were there, with the exception of Belanger and Balzano. But and I thought he was just trying to make a splash with us. So when that hit national news, I felt that I had to respond. I sent out an email. I copied you, and I said I laughed out loud when I saw him holding the picture of the cast. I just thought it was contrived. I thought it was a hoax. And immediately, you know, the passions get involved, and Matt and Andrew said, you know, don't just dispel it and dismiss it summarily without a scientific investigation. And Moniz is right, and he's gone down there. He's gone down there with I think a soil guy, a wildlife biologist. Jeff Belanger was down there. I think he even brought a psychic down there to the cornfield. And let me back up a little. So I felt that the next day when I sent that out, I'm going to find this damn place. I know where I know that place. I saw his photo, and I said, I can recreate that area where he found that cast. And the second link that I want people to go to is if they look in their browser, if they're looking at this website right now, massmysterytour.com/Lorefice, LOREFICE.html. Just go up to the browser and put Lorefice 2. Just put a 2 after Lorefice before the .html, and you'll go now to my page where I discovered the cornfield on a really hot Saturday. There were dive bombing deer flies, and I found the area. I took the comparison video, and I found that high tension wire. I had found it literally 5 minutes off the highway. It was my first spot, and I know exactly where it was taken. There's a white cross on the telephone pole opposite this spot. I mean, it's marked. And we're going to take the mystery tour, and we'll talk about that later there. So that was my take on it. I handed it off to Moniz. I found the area. I still don't think it's authentic. Jason sounds like a good guy. I'm friends with him on Facebook. But you know me. I've been hoaxed before, Don, and I just harken back to the Scott McNabb hoax case of '97 and '98, and that's basically my pitch and my take on the possible Bridgewater Bigfoot cast.
So when this first came to light, when you first heard about this and that area, you had to be saying, oh, I can't believe this. I mean, you suggested an area for him to go, and lo and behold, he discovers alleged Bigfoot evidence.
Yep.
And
you got it.
And you had to be scratching your head.
Yep. And I knew that the day that I released that, the day before I found the spot, and I had released that first thing, I had been in Boston. It was a beautiful day along the Charles River. And I remember your comment, and you just said something, John, this just doesn't feel right to me, and that's all you said. And I reflected back on all of your knowledge and research, on all of the investigative work that you've done, going on 25 years. It is 25. Yeah. And when I heard that, I said, well, here's a master tracker, and he's saying, there's just something not right there. So that's where I stand. Matt's going to make a presentation, Matt Moniz, about it. But it's to me, it's not in my gray basket. It's too contrite. And again, I feel guilty because I sent him there, and secondly, I egged it on because he brought it on the tour, which really added to the tour. So that's where it stands today. And honestly, I couldn't care less if it's fake or if it's real at this point.
Well, looking at the photograph, there's a couple of things to me that stood out in the photo of the footprint. Number one, he claims to have discovered a series of these tracks, which he may very well have. I don't know. But the one thing that stuck out about the photo of the track in the ground, especially, is the fact that there was no real debris on the outside of it. I mean, it's discovered in an area that is muddy, and there's no debris. There isn't anything in that photo that indicates to me that it had a significant amount of weight behind it. It didn't have mud squeezing up in between the toes. There was no debris behind the heel. There was no debris in front of the footprint where, after it lifted up off the ground, it may have left bits and pieces of mud lying behind as it walked away with mud stuck to its foot. And that's the one or two things that I noticed immediately, and that's what made me somewhat skeptical about it. They may very well belong to a living animal that's not a human or otherwise. If they do, let's just hope that we discover that animal soon instead of later. But I would just like to have seen a lot more photos of different tracks to make a determination. One footprint photograph isn't going to out of a whole series of them. It's not going to say yay or nay, but just looking at what I was able to see in the photo made me skeptical about it, if that makes sense. So.
Yep, absolutely. And I have to look to the other side now. And is there a possibility that this is authentic? Yes, there's a possibility. You can't say 100% it's a hoax, and you can't say 100% that it's real. There's a certain amount of innocence behind this in terms of talking with Jason, and I tried to penetrate his sincerity with some probing questions, and I wasn't successful, and I offered him out. I said, I can make this go away today, Jason, and I worked him over for 5 minutes. Just come out, and I said, trust me, I'm a good guy. I can make the fellas make it go away, and I can talk to Pittman tomorrow. Everybody can make it go away. We thought it went away. And he said, no, I'm telling the truth. So if he says he's telling the truth, and I'm looking at the photo right now. Are you on the website, Don?
Yeah.
If you see his right shod foot next to the print, and I still giggle. I'm sorry. And then if you go down and look at his really poor attempt of hoax footprints, which he offered to do, I mean, right. It's to the point. My 5-year-old could do better than that. 5-year-old nephew. And then the funny face. It's silly.
The funny face was, to me, I mean, he's a paranormal investigator in New England, and you're putting up information on a website that you claim is authentic. You don't draw a funny face in the most.
Well, I'll give you that. Hey, I'm a clown, and my websites are clown websites. I'll be the first. I have nothing. I do not have a problem with that at all. Okay.
Yeah.
The funny face. Let's have fun with this at least. But I mean, he's got a sense of humor, and right. I'm just looking at his other false footprints, and dude, you didn't have to choose sopping wet mud. I mean, so that's another innocence factor. It's either too over the top, or he just doesn't understand that you don't have to make duplicate footprints, and moreover, you don't have to do them in soupy mud.
Yeah.
And he offered to do these up, and I said, yeah, go ahead, do it. And at first, when I first saw these photos, Don, I asked him, I said, I don't even think this is in Bridgewater. Okay, I think it's Vermont, because he was back home in Vermont at that time. But then I said, wait a minute, I know that location. I found it. So, yes, there is, in my estimation, there's a remote possibility it's authentic. And that's just me. I've been hoaxed before. You're the only Bigfooter that I contact and correspond with regularly. They eat their own in this field, and I'm just, what I asked them to do is to bring the cast. I said, I'll pay for all your expenses in Boston. Bring your cast, come on to the Monster Mash, bring it on, and you don't have to defend it, we'll present it. And I said, Moniz will be your lawyer, and Andrew Lake, you don't even have to say a word. He's already released a statement, which is on my website. Stay to that, and let those guys present it for you. You don't even have to talk to anybody, or I won't even identify you. So I've made it such that he's not going to be ridiculed if he shows up. That if he comes, that I'll make sure he's protected, and I will run flanks on him. Nobody's going to go near the guy. He's safe. Nobody's going to poke fun at him. But bring the cast, because there's P.T. Barnum here, and P.T. Barnum wants to see you bring your cast, Joe. And let's put this into the Mass Monster Mash, because it's a very important find. Whether this is the Bigfoot hoax of 2009, as we had the stupendous rubber creature hoax of last year, and that was the first thing I thought. It's 2009. It's the Bigfoot summer hoax. I forgot. So who knows? Who knows? And if you look at the print next to his foot, part of me says, and again, this is me being a skeptic, is if you look at his photograph of his shod foot next to the footprint, right? And then if you look at the photograph of his bare foot next to the cast, something tells me that's a different cast from a different footprint. But that's just me. That's my first question. It doesn't look like that cast doesn't look like it was pulled from that footprint. That's there. I said it. I've been holding that back, and this is the first time I've told anybody, but I just don't think it doesn't smell right, Don.
Yeah, I concur. We do have about 15 minutes left in the show, so I want to give a shout-out to everybody who is in the chat room with us tonight. We have Andy Drew. We have Bill Green, Blue Tracker, Foos, Squatch. We have 4 guests. Then we have IMAX71, Irish Guide, Justin F., Long Island Yeti, Mohican Hikers. We've got MT Nears, 1 Kippy 67, Poppy 937, Scott A., that's Scott Allball, S.H. John, and we have Spin Dave here on the Sasquatch Triangle Show here on blogtalkradio.com with your host, Don Keating, and my guest, John Horrigan from Boston, Massachusetts. And we have a special in-studio guest this evening. Missy is in the background. Say hello to everybody, Missy.
Hi, guys.
There you have it. So the boss is in the room. Anyway, just don't let it go to her head. Now, we've got about 15 minutes left in the show, a little under that, and we've discussed the Mass Monster Mash, the Mass UFO Show, the Mass. By the way, I want to kudos to you on the Mass Mystery Tour. That's a great idea, and I think you should have a sold-out bus for that. Where would you like to see the Mass Monster Mash and UFO Mystery Tour go? I mean, you're still in the developing stages. I think you're in. This is your number 4 or number 5?
4.
4.
4.
Yeah.
I made an aside to Tim Banal in one of our production meetings the other night that I look forward to the day where I don't even have to go to it. Meaning that it runs so smoothly, you don't need me, I don't have to direct it. My wife has done all the operational direction in terms of the paperwork, the flyers, the posters, and she does a wonderful job. She's an artist. And like this year, for instance, wouldn't it figure the Boston Bruins alumni and the National Hockey League are sending a goodwill tour over to Ireland, okay, to the United Kingdom, to play at the only hockey rink in Ireland. And they invite yours truly, the Chinless Wonder, and doesn't it fall on the weekend of the Mass Monster Mash?
It always works out that way. I'm telling you,
so
you have the worst luck. It's terrible.
Yep.
Terrible.
So that breaks my heart.
I know. And just tell them to do it again next year and give you advance notice, and you'll be on the plane with them.
Yeah. So next year, Don's 5 years, and I made a commitment to my wife. After 5 years, we sit down and evaluate and see if it's worth our while. Tim was thinking about canceling the UFO show. I do not want to let it go. 4 years, we're going to go a fifth year, and we're going to bring in the best people. No, we're going to 5, and there's going to be one next year. And if we don't break even, if I keep losing thousands of dollars, then it's an expensive hobby that I have to put behind me.
Well, being there in 2007, I've got to say, as having the honor of being there at least that 1 year, you guys have fun. It's not only it's not just a serious thing, but you're towards that time of the year, the Halloween time, and you do have fun with it. And I got to say, you and your wife do a fine job of being the host, and it's just for everybody in the New England states. If you have never been there before, get down to Watertown and make your appearance known, and get to the Mass UFO Show, the Mass Monster Mash, and the Mass Mystery Tour. I think you'd have I know you'd have a a great time. John's a heck of a presenter, and he'll do you right.
Yeah, and it's fun. That's what you alluded to, and that's the most important thing, is to make sure you have fun about it and with it. And we've seen people go over the top with their research, and through experience that the phenomena, you can more or less sift through a story if it's true or false, and you get serious about it, but you do it in a way that it doesn't change your life and impact your life. Mm-hmm. And there are some people that sit and claim to know about Bigfoot and don't do the research now, or do the investigations. Now, I don't do the investigations. I'm just a folklorist, and I want to bring that, though, to life on stage for people, and that's why I will always have a Bigfoot element with the Mass Monster Mash, because there's certainly a call for it, and I find the subject absolutely intriguing, and I still believe that Bigfoot exists. Yeah, I believe. I don't know what the hell it is, and for some reason I don't think we'll ever pull a body in, but I believe the people that are seeing these things, I believe the evidence, and I don't think it's just in the Pacific Northwest. I know that your area experiences Bigfoot activity. That's a foregone conclusion. I also believe that it's been seen all across the continental United States and on various continents throughout the world. So That I know in my heart to be true, and I don't care if people ridicule me for that. And I think it's a fascinating subject.
Right. Well, you know, when I was up there a few years ago, you have like I say, you have a good time, and you also meet some good people. You know, I met several new friends from just going up there. I met Matt Moniz. I had never met him before. Talked to him, and we've built a friendship. And I met Jeff Belanger. Met him. You know, and Steve Russo. Never met him before, but heard about him a lot. And of course, he was with you when you were doing the AHA on the cable show up there, and finally had the opportunity to meet with him. And so, you know, it's one of those great things where everybody can get together and have a good time. And I met Batman. You remember that fella?
Chris Flynn.
Yeah.
In fact,
Batman.
I'm in one of his movies that he's producing right now.
Oh, really?
It's a little walk-on part as a scientist.
A mad scientist?
Yeah, no, well, actually, mad for sure. Scientist, no. But yeah, he's there, and again, it's things change from year to year. People are around. You know, we're excited. Peter Robbins is coming in from the UFO side. He's going to talk about the Bent Waters incident, which was a military UFO landing case in December 1980, at a NATO airbase, a secure airbase in England. And then Nick Redfern, who's talking about chupacabras at the Mass Monster Mash, will be talking about UFO crashes the night before from his book Cosmic Crashes. And then finally we have Nancy Talbot, who's going to be talking about crop circles and UFOs. So it's in the Mass Mystery Tour. We're going to haunted graveyards, a haunted schoolhouse, a haunted rock. We're going to a place where black helicopters were seen. We're going to a place where Bigfoot was seen. That we're going to take people to that Elm Street area where Jason allegedly pulled the cast. We're going to go to Lake Nipponicket where sea creatures, odd lake creatures have been seen. So we're going to make it fun and play Beatles music, the Magical Mystery Tour. The whole album will be playing, and then interviewing people on the bus. So it's going to be fun.
Great. Hey, John, before we run out of time, tell folks what type of prices you have and the type of packages that are available. I saw those on your website, and I think those are good.
Yeah, the UFO, each show, UFO Show and Mass Monster Mash, and again, this is all laid out at www.massmystery.com. But those two shows are $25 each. The bus tour is $35. The entire package for both shows and the bus tour is $70. So with a cumulative savings of $15. Or you can buy one both nights, or the bus tour in one night, and you'll still save $10. So go to the website and check out the options available. If you're coming into Boston from out of town, like I'm thinking about bringing you in next year, and I'm wondering, what about driving? Would you and Missy ever drive here, or is that 18 hours of?
Oh no, that's not nearly that long. I thought about driving up there this year, but the way things are going with my scheduling around here, I'm not gonna be able to make it up this year because I got so many projects on the burner right now. Oh. But no, driving wouldn't be that. I don't think it'd be that difficult at all.
Because I'd love to bring you guys back.
Yeah, it'd be
10 hours.
9 or 10 hours, yeah.
Wow. Okay. You're bringing it.
Huh?
Yeah. You're going fast, I think, right? From Newcomers Town.
We won't tell
nobody. Pittsburgh's 8 hours. How far are you from Pittsburgh?
Hour and a half.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That is, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention some stuff before we get off here. We've got about 7 minutes before we close the show out. You accept payment by PayPal.
Yeah.
Those links are on your website as well. So, folks, do yourselves a favor. Get up there to Watertown. Meet up with some folks that you've probably never met with before, and look at it this way: the indelible John or the indelible Bill Green is possibly going to be in attendance. He's already left the chat room tonight, but he's threatening to show. I mean, he's saying he's going to show up. So, since he left the chat room, I can cut on him. But get up there and meet all these folks. I know you'd have a great time. They've got refreshments there. Refreshments are available at a very minimal cost. You have an auction too, right?
Yes.
Good. And I'm going to be donating some DVDs towards your auction.
Oh, good. Yes. It'll be an auction or a raffle or something of the two, a silent auction. Yes, we will be doing raffling off DVDs. I have a couple of New England Patriots Super Bowl footballs that I'm auctioning off that represent all their Super Bowls. And I try to tell people in New England to enjoy it because they're going to go to the Super Bowl for a long time. So, we'll do other stuff like that. And it'll be fun. There'll be trivia. I'll have those little presentations that I told you about. We're going to have Matt Moniz going to do about the Bigfoot, Bridgewater Bigfoot cast. Hopefully you'll be able to get to see that in person. So there's just so much going on. I guarantee the Monster Mash is going to be very, very exciting. The UFO show, I just want to add a couple of things. I'm going to be talking about two things, black helicopters. And I have a new website called blackhelicopters.us. If anybody wants to go there, www.blackhelicopters.us. Just something I put together, one of my billions of URLs. And then I'm going to be talking about something that fascinates me, known as the air raid of Los Angeles. And I love World War II UFO research. And in February 25th and February 24th and 25th of 1942, an object went over the city of Los Angeles, and 1,430 rounds were expended of anti-aircraft fire at this object. Some said that they could hear the shells pinging off the metal object. High brass command in the air defense, lieutenant colonels said that they saw plane formations flying over. Now again, this is a little over 2 months, almost 3 months after Pearl Harbor, and there was no Japanese carrier unit in the area. And it's a fascinating, unexplained event where in Los Angeles 6 batteries went nuts, lobbing shells up into the atmosphere at some sort of object. And there's other air raids that I'll allude to too, like the San Francisco air raid of December 10th, 1941 rather. So it'll be fun. The UFO show will be fun as a prelude. Different type of crowd. I found out that the UFO people do not mix well with the crypto and ghost people. They just don't get along. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. Folks, I want to make a couple of announcements before we run out of time. Don't forget, October 3rd, Tri-State Bigfoot Study Group, Salt Fork State Park, 7 p.m. October 20th, 8 a.m., give or take a few minutes, I'll be a guest on WDJQ Q92 out of Alliance on the FM dial, 92.5. I will be a guest on there. The weekend of the 9th and 10th and 11th of October, I will be in Erie, Pennsylvania at the Erie Horror Fest, and I'll put that web link in the chat room here in just a few moments. Also, off topic, but something that I've been doing on a basically daily basis. For those of you who are friends of mine on Facebook, you know that I've been doing a daily weather segment for about 3.5 to 4 minutes. I'll put the link in there for that too. It's not cryptozoological related, but it is weather related, and it's something that John and I both know quite a bit about. John does a lot of talks on historical weather events, and I do a lot of information on current weather events. So that's going to be in there as well. And also, one last thing to tease you with. I can't say who it is yet. I can't say where it will air yet, but I'm going to be involved in the filming for a major TV network, and something is going to be airing later this year, and it is going to deal with the Bigfoot phenomenon, and we think that it'll probably be bigger than Monster Quest. So I will have an announcement on that when I can make the announcement. At this point in time, I cannot make the announcement who it's with or anything to that effect, but I'm just dangling the bait in front of your eyeballs, so to speak. John Horrigan, thank you once again for being on the show tonight. It's always a pleasure talking with you, and I look forward to the next time we can walk up to each other, smack each other up alongside the head, and say, hey, friend, nice to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Don. I look forward to chatting with you in the future.
Well, thanks, and it's been a pleasure talking with you again tonight, and I'm hoping you have the utmost success for the 4th annual Mass Monster Mash, Mass UFO Mash, and the tour that you're having on Sunday.
Thanks, and you too. You have a great one out of Salt Fork.
Well, thank you very much, and folks, thanks for tuning in tonight. I do appreciate it. here in 2 weeks, I believe it's October 7th, is our next program. We're going to be having just basically a rundown of what happened up at Erie, Pennsylvania on that weekend. Oh, by the way, John, I did forget to tell you that a longtime friend of yours has been listening in the chat room, and that is Bobby Short. She told me to tell you hello.
Wow. Hello, Bobby. Bigfoot Encounters rocks. Good for her.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
She's the best.
She has one of the best Bigfoot sites out there, if not the best.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Well, tell your wife we all said that Missy and I said hello, and tell Matt and Jeff and all of them the next time you see them that I said hello. And again, best of luck to you on the event coming up here in just a few weekends.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. And we'll talk to y'all folks here in 2 weeks or sooner at the October 3rd Tri-State Bigfoot Study Group. So until then, I'm Don Keating on the Sasquatch Triangle Show. See you next time.